Sisters,
we shall not yield to tyranny.
Our cause just we will prevail. The fight
Hello,
for our
history
rights.
Buffs. Ready for a journey back? Look at this encampment. The spirit of 76 is alive.
Bobby, at this
Hello,
point,
history.
shame on you. Shame on you. Because we are being played as the American people. Our money is funding a war that we don't need to be in. I shouldn't be okay with it. So as long as I have breath in my body and a mic to use, I will be speaking out against this.
A true patriot savors these moments, but the fight for liberty calls.
The economy, we have a global economy. That's why we're the number one economy in the world. I know that a lot of people want to paint the horrible view of America, but, you know, go live somewhere else and then tell me America's bad.
Patriotism is all about. Look at these flags. They represent our fight for liberty. This is
so
American.
freaking crazy to me that we have an conflict with Iran before a single person from the Epstein files has been arrested on American soil.
The hour our liberty is at hand. For freedom is brava. Brothers
I
and
was
sisters.
working, man, you know, but it's good to see Rippy out there handling business, man. And again, hey, there's a lot of black Trump supporters, man. I mean, it feels good to see that, man. So I'm...
My fellow patriots, the hour of decision is upon us. Let us march forth with courage to secure our liberty.
A real coach. People are getting sick of it. The moment a celebrity steps slightly outside the leftist approved narrative, they get attacked. Chili from TLC gets heat over allegedly donating to Donald Trump.
For liberty. The British advance. We must act.
Our supplies are low, but morale is high.
Then we fight for liberty.
Alpayne's word captures the spirit of we fight for independence.
With
Welcome to my...
that said they were anti-war. I think they said no new wars. Yeah, they voted for a president that was not going to start any new wars. And what's funny to me is that not only were you lied to, not only did this man start this and get out of the
freedom. Greetings from the encampment. The spirit of liberty is strong. We will fight for our rights and our freedom.
Just in order to get the Greater Israel Project accomplished, you have to kill people. That's why it's wrong. Killing people is wrong, full stop. So you can try to make sense of it with, well, it's a threat and this and that. There's no greater threat than the United States empire.
To the encampment for liberty.
And what I've learned, and I'm not a liberal or a Democrat. I voted for Trump the first time, but he's become a politician. He lies like all the other politicians. He deceives like all the other politicians.
Endures through every change and challenge. We stand at the dawn of liberty, unshaken by the trials ahead. Our cause in doing.
I'm going to go out on the limb and say anybody that sits in that oval does not like Americans. They love United States, though, which is the politics, but they don't love the Americans. Americans are farmers. Americans are mechanics. Americans are school teachers. Americans are mom and pop businesses.
In front of me! Soldiers, the enemy is near.
Not only do I love my FBA fam, my Black American fam, my Black people on code, you know, my people that's allies with us as part of the fam. I love y'all. I love my country too. You feel me?
People see my physique and assume I'm just some dumb Chad. But in reality, I graduated 5th in my law school class, magna cum laude. I got awards for getting the highest grade in my class in constitutional law, criminal law, and legal analysis and writing. I knew I was the smartest I'd ever been in my life.
The cause to victory.
To victory. These pastries are wonderful.
Indeed, but we must stay vigilant.
You know how sometimes you wake up in the morning and the first lady puts out a statement demanding you be fired from your job? We've all been there, right? You've been been there, right, Guillermo?
Yeah, sure.
What a day. Every year they'd have a comedian roast the room. The president, the vice president, members of the press, everybody got roasted. I did it once. I hosted it. It was a lot of fun. But this year, they said no comedian. We're bringing in a mentalist instead. So on Thursday, 3 days before the event, in order to keep that cherished tradition alive, I did my own version of the Correspondents' Dinner on my show. So again, this was Thursday, and there was no big reaction to it until this morning when I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit storm. And a call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago. It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow, which obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're together. It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not, by any stretch of the definition, a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful in that house. And also, I agree that hateful and violent rhetoric is something we should reject. I do, and I think a great place to start to dial that back would be to have a conversation with your husband about it, because Donald Trump is allowed to say whatever he wants to say, as are you, and as am I, as are all of us, because under the First Amendment, we have, as Americans, a right to free speech. But with that said, I am sorry that you and the president and everyone in that room on Saturday went through that. I really am. Just because no one got killed doesn't mean it wasn't traumatic and scary. And we should come together and be best. We really should. But if you want us to believe that a joke I made 3 days before this dinner had any effect on anything that happened, well, then maybe someone should look into this psychic lady, too.
This speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight.
You know what? You know who's going to be furious when she hears that? White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt who will be furious.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Jeff.
It's Mia.
John.
And we have a very special guest tonight, guys. John served on the front lines in the Ukraine, and he will be giving us an update. We'll be going over some breaking news that happened, but that will be our closing topic. So if you guys want to hear all about his experience in the Ukraine, I need you to hit the like button and buckle up and stay tuned, because we'll be getting to that the final half of the show. But for right now, shout out to everybody in the chat. Kathy, Gabe, you guys, if you are sensitive tonight, I'm going to need you to let your hair down, have a laugh, because President Trump don't be taking things so seriously, so why do you? And this is what our friend of the show, Charlemagne the God, had to say about Trump and how he speaks.
Whenever something like this happens to Donald Trump, whenever there is an assassination attempt, whenever there is some type of political violence that happens at, one of these events, people always say, so are we going to tone down the violent rhetoric towards Trump? Stop it. Like, I'm sick of that narrative. I need every single media personality to direct that energy and that question towards one person and one person only, and that person is President Donald J. Trump. At what point do people simply say, hey, Trump, it's clear that you're the drama? Okay, how quick we forget. Just last month, Donald Trump got on Truth Social and said Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He no longer can hurt innocent people. President Trump, do you not realize there are people out there who feel the same way about you? That's why you don't wish death on people. That's why you don't say things like, I'm glad a person is dead. Whatever God got planned for a person is between them and God. There's no need to speak that kind of negativity over anybody's life, because you end up speaking it over yours.
Gray, we were together Saturday night when this was announced. First thing you said to me is, damn, a lot of people sure seem to want to take him out. What do you think about the rhetoric that the president puts out there? Do you think he's responsible, or do you think the radical left is to blame?
Trump, of course, has put negative energy into the universe. So, of course, negative energy is going to come back to him in the universe. There's so many allegations around this. We talked about this last night on the Man Cave show. So I can't say or deny what is going on with this assassination attempt, but I will say that in my lifetime, this is the only president I've seen go through this.
So are you trying to say it's fake? Are you trying to say you believe it? What's Gray Barr's thoughts? Gray, you was awfully quiet last night. I want to know what you think. You think it's fake?
I don't know if it's fake or not. I mean, I'll see what happens. I'll see what information gets put out, and then I'll make my judgment call.
Okay. Well, all right. Touche. I'm going to get Kim in here for this next clip. This right here is, the explanation about what Melania is upset about. Let's watch.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania. So beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
I'm going to keep this on the screen while Kimberly responds, because I want everyone to be able to read what our president POTUS wrote. Kim, if you were the beautiful, younger than our president, First Lady, would you be offended by that comment?
No, I love dark humor. I thought it could have been funnier. I think it's crazy that she's putting out a statement. Why do people get offended? I thought it was the left. I thought it was the snowflake left people who get offended. What happened to being funny? By the way, when Donald Trump makes funny jokes, I'm the first to admit it. Like, I think Donald Trump is actually really funny. And I'm not a Jimmy Kimmel fan anymore. I watched a skit. It was actually pretty funny. I was surprised. I don't know if he got people to help him write that, but he roasted them pretty good. And he used to be really, really funny back in the days, before you get, bought out by the liberal media, like what happened with Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert was one of my favorite comedians. What a fall from grace. But I guess that happens when you get like multi-$100 million deals. I think everybody's just super partisan, and it's expected now. It's kind of boring. Like, oh, okay, Melania's getting offended. Of course she is, because it's like a left versus right thing all the way. I don't know. Can you guys tell me if the Melania getting upset thing made news, or if people are defending her?
Yes, I'm going to play the clips of people defending her. A lot of people are defending her. They're very
I
upset.
think it's silly. I think it was funny. I love dark humor. And I'm not someone to defend Jimmy Kimmel. He's like super like insufferable liberal. I put him up there with Stephen Colbert, especially after COVID. I'm not like one to say Trump derangement syndrome, but they're super partisan too. You see it on both sides when they get super partisan like that. So, but his skit was actually really funny.
This is Charlie Kirk's friend, Benny Johnson, friend of the show. We've talked a lot about his allegations. You can go watch the old videos. Here we go. He's defending her.
Massive just happened, and Jimmy Kimmel is most likely going to lose his show this week. And let me explain why. Here's how Jimmy Kimmel reacted when a far left-wing activist and agitator who's violently attacked federal agents with a firearm, brandishing a firearm, and then lost his life. Here's what Jimmy Kimmel had to say to Alex Preddy.
And to the people of Minneapolis, to the Preddy family and the Good family, and these people who were looking out for their neighbors, we want you to know that we are with you and you are not alone.
Okay, we're with you and you're not alone. And then Jimmy Kimmel burst into tears. Here's what Jimmy Kimmel says to Melania Trump after her husband faced multiple assassination attempts, and moments before he faced another assassination attempt.
First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
So let's parse that language here real fast. It's important to do that in this circumstance. An expectant widow. Nobody's ever heard that. Nobody would ever say that. It's so rude. You wouldn't say that to anybody, you know, not even your worst enemy. Because what it is it's wishing death on your husband.
Oh my God, snowflake conservative.
And only the cruelest, most evil, most demonic people would ever do that. It's wishing death on the husband.
All right, this is really long. John, I'm going to get you in here before we play some more of it. John, are you offended as a husband? I'm assuming you're married. I think you said you were. Oh, you're muted, dear. I'm sorry. Oh, let me see. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
No, I was married in the past for 8 years. And like, so the thing when I look at with this is, this is a common joke for like to roast someone, especially where there's a big age gap between the wife and the husband. And, you know, these things, I mean, personally, having these White House Correspondents Dinners, I don't really like them in the first place because I think journalists should be adverse to the person they're covering and you shouldn't have that person as a guest of honor. But that's a whole nother debate. I think it's just snowflake behavior. I mean, honestly, I mean, it's obviously a joke. There's obviously a big age gap. And anything that it seems like the funnier it is, the more Trump gets offended and tries to find some reason to go after people and violate the First Amendment, you know, like they did with Brendan Carr going after Jimmy Kimmel earlier, before in his term.
I agree. I'm going to play some more and then we're going to get Mia and Jeff, and shout out to Andre. Andre just joined us. Here we go.
Husband of someone who's married.
It's weird. Okay. Mia, should the beautiful First Lady be offended, and should Jimmy Kimmel lose his job?
I can only imagine the things that people have said to her in person and online that are massively way worse than what Jimmy Kimmel said. The amount of hate that bots spew at social media and DMs. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous for her to even be upset by this at this point in time. I mean, I think it's a little pathetic. We are a First Amendment. We are a free speech country. If she doesn't like it, she's more than welcome to go back to Slovenia. I'm sure it's beautiful there. I've seen the pictures. It looks wonderful. But if she doesn't want to uphold our Constitution, then that's on her. But she needs to, I guess, grow thick skin. I don't know what to tell her. She's been in the United States, whether legal or illegal, for decades now. I mean, she knows the name of the game. We're nasty here. I don't know what to tell her. She needs to get over it and keep it moving. I really wish American politicians were like the British royal family. They don't comment on anything. They don't care. They keep it moving. They hardly ever comment on anything. And she should take, since they were meeting today, she should take a little chapter out of their playbook and stop commenting and shut the fuck up, because nobody cares.
Damn, just straight like that. She said nobody cares. Take your ass back to Slovenia, Melania. This is the last clip, and then we're gonna get Jeff in here, and then guys, we're gonna switch over to the Zeus Network topic. This is something I know Andre's just gonna love, but here we go. This was Carolyn Levitt. She said that you guys need to tone the rhetoric down.
Example, as the First Lady of the United States pointed out this morning, just 2 days prior to the shooting, ABC's late night host Jimmy Kimmel disgustingly called First Lady Melania Trump an expectant widow. Who in their right minds says a wife would be glowing over the potential murder of her beloved husband? And having experienced what I did with the First Lady on Saturday night, I can tell you that she was anything but that. This kind of rhetoric about the president, the First Lady, and his supporters is completely deranged, and it's unbelievable that the American people are consuming it night after night after night. As President Trump said on Saturday night at this podium, we as Americans must recommit ourselves to resolving our differences peacefully and uniting around the shared values that make our country.
Oh man, you see the crash outs in the chat. Jeff, welcome back. What do you think? Do you think that Jimmy Kimmel took it too far, or should Melania get her panties out the bunch?
I just think everyone's in the wrong, to be honest with you. Not to sound like a reasonable fellow or anything, but realistically, should Jimmy Kimmel have joked about someone's death? No. Should Melania suck it up? Yeah. Should Trump suck it up? Yeah. Like, there's a degree for everything, and the degree depends on how realistic it likely is. Like, if someone was going to say, like, oh, I'm about to kill Trump at this time, this, and they know it to be reasonably true, it's like, okay, that makes sense as to why you're offended. And, you wouldn't want people saying that. That's probably not good to actually, like, advocate for someone's death. But the fact that it's, like, a comedian who's, like, not paid attention to and just brought more attention to this shit with all this, it's like you're doing yourself a disservice by making it a big deal and not having, like, realistically to fire someone who is also ridiculous. Because it's like, bro, you say crazy stuff yourself, Mr. Trump. Like, come on, bro.
I mean, he literally celebrates the death of people. I mean, I like Trump. I voted for him. But you celebrate the death of people, sir. What is the problem? But we're going to move on here. Andre, you're going to love this topic, honey. This has to do with Black degeneracy. This has to do with Mossad. This got to do with Joseline Hernandez. I picked this just for you, Andre, okay? So I'm going to have you kick off this first one. Have you heard about the drama with Joseline Hernandez, a.k.a. the chick from Love and Hip Hop, a.k.a. CVJ's baby mama, a.k.a. the founder of this stripper show called The Cabaret? Have you heard of her? Have you heard what's going on with her and Lemmy?
I haven't heard that name, Joseline Hernandez, in a minute. Unfortunately, my mother, she loved watching Real Housewives and all this other fucking goofy shit when it was popping back at Wife Swap. This was the cancer of the 2000s and also the early 2010s and shit. So I had the misfortune of listening to this shit. And I was so relieved when she got tired of watching this shit, because me and my grandfather would look at her like, this shit's goofy. Why are you watching these niggas with money? Act like niggas with no money.
She could be a big fan for me.
Yeah, y'all remember that Chappelle show with Wife Swap?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I just remembered. I just jumped in.
That's funny.
Andre, this is all your favorite topics all rolled into one. Black degeneracy, Mossad, all of it tonight. We're going to break it down. This is just for you.
That's great. Can't wait.
I'm going to put you on to some game and you're going to get 1 million views when you talk about it. All right, here we go. This is Joseline talking about Lemmy, and I'll tell you backstory as we go.
You harassed, you're controlled. He kept everyone away from me in order to control me so that I couldn't hear anything from you. I can't hear anything from any executives. I can't hear anything from anyone.
On the first night we went out to the club, I was getting cool with Scotty. And then out of nowhere, Lemmy was like, you can't talk to her. Who said that? Lemmy. Why? I don't know.
He approached you inappropriately.
Absolutely.
Lemmy.
Absolutely. I went to go have a business meeting.
So pretty much, Andre, Lemmy founded Zeus Network. Like, have you ever heard Bad Girls Club?
Of course.
Okay, so they have this show called Baddies. And it's like they put a bunch of crazy girls. They live in a house. I'm going to play you clips while you're talking and responding. And he founded this network. And allegedly, we'll get to the allegations, he has a connection to Israel. And I'll explain why later. But nevertheless, I'm going to, as you're responding, I'll show everybody the clips. This is what they're pushing out to the youth. And the allegation is that, hold on. The allegation is that Joseline is saying that someone called her from Israel. I'll play that next. Are you surprised to hear that this degeneracy has an Israel connection? And do you think it's a coincidence, or do you think that he's paid to put this out here?
No, because Jews have always been pushing out poison within the community. I mean, I have to always state this. It is still Black people's fault for accepting it and not policing it and going in a different direction and having their own culture. But this goes back to the civil rights movement. I mean, it was a significant amount of Jewish influence over much of the institutions. A lot of the HBCUs, today were founded by Jews, funded by Jews. They only exist because of Jews. The only reason for why the civil rights movement was successful is because of Jews. And then we get into the 1970s and 80s with the explosion of media throughout the entire country, especially with rap music, especially with a lot of the, Black exploitation films and shit, that had a lot of Jewish connections. So when you see this shit today, I mean, it's, Jews have kind of taken a back seat because they're like, well, these niggas do it so much, we really don't have to say anything. Me and Ezekiel can just collect the check and niggas will do it more than we have to. So that's what they do. So when I see shit like baddies, it really, Black woman, I mean, you're the ones losing from this. This is your image. Look at this. What the fuck is this? A bunch of hood rats fighting over, and then a bunch
like
of
WWE on BET.
Yeah, this is WWE for niggas. This is BET, just more Jewish. That's all it is. BET, more Jewish. That's all it is. And, what's his name?
Their asses
he has Jewish connections. It's disgusting.
I'm going to be, hold on, full stop. I'm going to be 100% honest. I used to be obsessed with Bad Girls Club in the 2000s. Loved original OG Bad Girls Club because it was hilarious. It was like real world because they had white girls there. They had Spanish girls there. They had Black girls. It was like a whole slew of people that I just loved. Everybody was so crazy. I remember watching it in the 2000s thinking it was lit. Now they just look crazy. At least back then it was more like MTV's Real World met a bunch of crazy bitches who got drunk. I don't know what it is now. It looks like WWE.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play.
You look like a Bad Girls Club. I could already tell you was a Bad Girls Club fan. I swear, I could tell just from your outfit right there. I could tell you watch Bad Girls Club. Like I could already.
When they fight, they zoom in on their asses. It's pretty funny.
It is funny, but here she goes.
Very nice asses.
This is the connection because I want to tie it all in. I don't want to. I want to say allegedly. I'm going to show you guys the connection so you can watch.
That's Lemuel. What's his name? Lemuel Samuels, who jacked the Zeus Network out from under some folks who had created it, and then it got a bunch of money put into it because his daddy is a Black bishop in Israel.
I don't. I like her to an extent. Not everything she says.
Do y'all understand? Everything is a lie.
I hate this bitch's face. I hate this bitch's nose. I hate the bitch's eyes.
I'm going to bed.
There are Black Jewish people?
Look at that.
I'm stuck on that.
There are.
I'm going to bed.
There are. One
of
them
called blue face because they like the color blue.
Yeah.
She'll get credit for naming the Jew. That's the only credit I'll ever give this bitch.
They the biggest gang out. They got us again.
Yes, Eric, yes.
I think you'll find, sir, that there will.
Eric.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over. It's over, Eric.
It's
the niggas saying we were there. It's always, I swear, it's niggas. Niggas think that they're the real Jews. Niggas just can't be niggas. They can't be from Africa. They got to be the real TP. We the real Indians. We're the real Jews. We're the real Martians. Nigga, just be Black and move on. At the end of the day, I don't want to be a Jew. At the end of the day, because what's coming is not going to be nice. I'm going to be honest.
Kim, what do you think about that clip? You actually are a fan, so I'll start with you. You appreciate my clip of Amanda. What do you think about that connection? Do you think it's BS, or do you see the line of connection with this guy?
I can see the connection. I would want to look more into it myself before I jump to any conclusions. But I do like Amanda Seales, and she does look into things, and she says a lot of things that I agree with. Ideologically, her and I are almost up to par, like maybe 80%. Honestly, she's great.
Really, Kim?
She's also hilarious. Yeah, I'm a lefty. I'm a stalwart lefty. But I'm not like
Amanda Seals. Oh,
Yeah.
Kim, fuck. I know you're lefty, but I didn't think he was with Amanda Seals.
I said
think he would say like something like, what's his name? The streamer. What the fuck is his name? Hassan Piker. I like Hassan. How do you feel about Hassan?
There's a lot
he's
of
just too
overlap
fucking rich to be a
Hassan
socialist.
and Amanda.
Hassan Piker, I can't stand him.
Yeah,
He's
he
not
says
a
some shit that's like not historically
Yes.
accurate, but I mean, whatever.
Exactly.
I mean,
And he also teaches people how to. I'm gonna be quiet.
He is very beautiful. I can watch him on mute. I agree with a lot of
That's why she likes the nigga. I knew she was gonna say this shit. You only like it because the nigga is attractive. You don't like the nigga. Other than, you don't even listen to what the nigga's saying. She watching the whole stream to see if this nigga gonna take his shirt off.
I can't
Fuck
watch
outta
his
here.
streams.
I want to see him debate somebody who knows what they're talking about because he's
You-
always out there.
He
talking
won't.
about
watch
stuff.
him
won't.
like black bitches watch Michael Jordan in Sinners. They only watch the movie to see him take his shirt off. That's it.
He
You
No,
didn't
and
remember what the movie was about.
he's actually
Yeah.
taken a while to come off. For a long time, he was a huge Democrat defender. Him and he's Cenk Uyghur's nephew, and it took him a long time
Yeah.
to get off the Democrat boat. So now he's starting to make a little bit more sense. He is actually, I think, a self-identified Marxist. I'm not, so I don't agree with him completely.
But he's not even he's not even an actual Marxist because Marx would hate him. He's not even an actual socialist because every socialist, they would all hate him. He's a champagne. He's not even a fucking socialist. I can't even call him a champagne socialist.
Yeah.
I think it's disrespectful to even consider that.
He's a commie. He should go move to Cuba.
Well,
He
He
says
wouldn't even be a
loves
good commie.
Cuba.
He would be he's the bourgeoisie. He's the exact thing that he criticized. He is the bourgeoisie. He is not a communist at all. That's the whole thing. When people say that, I'm like, he LARPs as a communist. He LARPs as a communist.
Not the LARPing. Not the LARPing.
He still criticizes these other people, and he did get asked about. Well, I'm not gonna make this whole. I'm not like this whole big Hassan Piker fan. I'm not gonna say.
Well,
for hours. Sorry, guys.
Yes,
But he
Well,
is-
let's get back. We're gonna drive the car back, and we're gonna drive the
Sorry.
car back. And I'm gonna play this clip of Homegirl saying people call her for Israel on behalf of Lemmy, and we'll play Lemmy after.
No names yet. My shareholders are calling me about Joseline. So you got people in Israel calling you about me? You got the mobsters from Israel calling you about me while I'm in America with child? At my old age? You're trying to kill me. And this is why I say you're trying to kill me.
So Mia, tinfoil hat. Do you believe her? Mind you, she's pregnant, by the way, guys. I don't know if you guys saw the video. Go look up Joseline getting arrested. That went viral, so I'm sure Andre made reactions to it. Maybe I'll play that next. What do you, or while we're talking, what do you think?
I'm going to be honest. Statistically speaking, she's going to die because she's Black in America pregnant. She's not going to die from the Jews. The Jews don't even have to touch her. Okay. Black women in the United States die at an alarming rate while giving birth. So, I mean,
Well, I have to
statistics.
correct you. She's a Black Puerto Rican, to be clear. She's not FBA. She's not Caribbean. She's not African. She's Puerto Rican. But I just want to put that out there.
But either way, she's still proud in America, even if we use the stats for Hispanic and Latino women. Still, I mean, the odds are she's just being pregnant in the United States and being brown, you're going to die in childbirth. Versus the Jews, they don't even have to do anything. They're just running the odds, running the clock down. I think she's a little crazy.
Do you guys know that Israel was forced sterilizing Ethiopian Jews in Israel because they wanted to minimize the Black Jewish population in Israel?
I didn't know that. No.
No, I didn't know that.
They
But-
forced sterilized a lot of Black Ethiopian Jews in Israel. This was decades ago. It was really big. It was a big thing.
You know, the thing
Was
is-
she pregnant here?
We were probably doing that
No.
same shit at the same time, honestly, up until the 60s. So, but yeah,
Oh.
no, that wouldn't surprise me.
That's a good side note, John.
And
but-
the people that did it too, obviously, are minorities and people with mental issues and stuff like that. So,
I mean, yeah, we want people with mental issues to be sterilized. Honestly, to be honest with you, I don't want people with mental issues to be
no,
existing.
they're fun, man.
To be honest,
They're
No,
fun.
they're not funny because what we get that is we get people who are going to be abused. I see this a lot in the military. Like a lot of the fucking like the civilian workers, especially around like the DFAC and shit. For some reason, they were all like mentally, they had some kind of mental disability. They were working with some program, and they got treated like shit. This is something I saw at Bragg. I can name a few defects that had like the civilian workers, and they were just like, this dude's limping.
We should
over
sterilize
here.
the people being mean
He's
to them,
crazy.
man.
No, we should sterilize the people who have these deficiencies because we want a better society. You don't get a better society by sterilizing the people.
That's too close to what Hitler did, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that sounds like
no,
eugenics.
that's something we've been doing for. No, eugenics is good. Eugenics is something we practice even today.
All right.
Eugenics is not a bad thing. Tell me why eugenics is bad, John.
Because it's discriminatory, violates the Constitution and basic principles of self-determination.
It doesn't violate the Constitution at all. It doesn't violate the Constitution. Where in the Constitution does it violate?
Absolutely does.
Where in the Constitution does it violate your
Man, it's like 5 officers trying to carry this lady out. She's struggling.
Even without the Constitution, how is eugenics bad? Give a genuine, reasonable response.
It discriminates against certain
even without
subsets of people, including by race, including by certain, like, even just chromosomal. Like, some people believe in the sterilization of people with Down syndrome.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. Why would I want someone who has Down syndrome in society for them to be abused, and also they're a net negative in society because we have to take care of them?
All right, so like I'm just going to tell you, I
want that.
Just to be clear, I'm completely against this. This is what happened in World War II. This is how you end up genociding people because you're saying they're subhuman, right? This is what people will say.
Who said that they're subhuman?
African Americans. They'll say, no, hold up. They'll classify people that they don't like as being abnormal, right? It won't just be Down syndrome. It may start like that, but it'll turn out into other stuff like that. So I'm just
there's no historical precedent for that. Actually, there's no historical precedent for that.
So you
could even say, like, using with the Germans in World War II, they didn't want certain people in society to be of a lower class and lower status. So guess what? They either deported them, or unfortunately, because of the war, people died, and they were deemed like, okay, we can't take care of these people. They just have to go. So even with that, that's not really historically accurate from what you're saying.
It is exactly historically accurate. And you know what? They used to say that about African Americans in the Deep South. They used to say, well, they're some humans. Well, we're going to make them slaves. We're going to kill them. We're going to do this. We're going to buy livestock.
Slavery ended. We fought the entire war.
Them and selling them like their chattel, right? So, I mean, it's
and mainly that was done by Jews. Honestly, Jews did that as well. So here's the thing. When we look at slavery in the South or discrimination in the South, you can try to make this like, well, you're black, so you shouldn't be supportive of this. Well, look at the result that we have today. When you have a people who are unhealthy, when you have a people who are dysgenic, what does that create? A very dysfunctional society, a very disorderly society. You don't want that, especially going into the future, modernized. You don't want that at all, because that's what you end up looking like. You end up turning out to be Africa. You end up turning out to be Haiti. You end up looking like some of even the poorest areas of Eastern Europe.
Well,
even
Haiti
with that,
looks the way it does
standard
because of French colonialization and exploitation. That's why it is the way it is.
You can make that argument. That's a fair argument to make. But even with that, culturally,
I mean, eugenics. I'm just going to tell you, history does not agree with that. History does not agree with that. It completely.
So let's take another example. Look at Liberia. You could sit back and say colonization. Well, guess what? A lot of these blacks that went and they got sent over from the United States, they went over to Liberia. What happened there, John? What happened with those people? Was that because of colonization? Was that because of exploitation, or was it because
eugenics
segregate themselves?
So eugenics and telling people when they can and can't have children, the most basic fundamental decision a person makes in life, and self-determination, taking that away is going to solve social problems. How are you going to eugenicize,
1,000%,
murder your way out of
1,000%?
It don't work like that.
Who said we're murdering people? We're not murdering people. This is why I take a very yes, we don't want people who are going to be a net negative on society to exist in society, because that's what we don't gain anything from that.
Who makes
we
that
want
decision?
a more healthy
because
society.
then power becomes who decides who gets to live or not.
Well,
guess what? You know, guess who?
John has a point though. Like, who decides? Like let's just logically speaking. No, who's we? Who's we though? Who's we, bro?
We, those who have power to do so. Those who have power.
The people in power, right? You or I are not in power.
Hold on. And that's the problem, because you're not going out to seek power. You're not finding ways to gain power. That's the whole thing. Everything in the world, everything in life is about power. Power is the most thing. The one important thing, especially as men, we all look for more power individually in our own lives. Then we expand it out to our family unit and our own family structure. We expand it out to the community, therefore the nation, and so on. It's very hierarchical. It's not just like, well, it's just the people in power. Okay, seek power, take power, and power often long term comes from force. You have to take power.
Right. But like, let's be realistic though. Like, let's be like realistic and live in the reality. The reality is the 13 families run the entire planet, right? And nobody in this, none of us are part of these 13 families. These 13 families are people that would see you and I dead in a heartbeat, and all of us dead in a heartbeat for even having this discourse. So there's no taking power because there's no power to take, because everything has already been decided. We are up at, like, everything has already been decided, bro.
I agree. Honestly, I hate that I'm disagreeing with you, because I hear what you're saying. But here's what you need to do. I hear what you're saying, but you have to push for power at the end of the day.
Let's allow Jeff to speak. Jeff hasn't spoken.
Oh, I'm just jumping in like a dick sometimes, to be honest with you. But no, like, all I'm saying is, like, the everything's already determined. Like me, I usually agree with your takes and stuff, but everything's already determined just means everything's meaningless. So why do anything? Why care about anything? Why even debate anything at all? So, it's like we could debate capitalism versus socialism all day and realize, oh, the people who support socialism don't view it as an idealistic thing to capitalists. Capitalists are like, hey, that's just idealistic. Doctrine, it sounds great, but actually put it in principle or put it in practice, put principle into practice with people actually imposing it, it falls apart. Okay, so socialists view capitalism the same way. Us capitalists, it's like, oh, okay, put those in power, it falls apart. Well, it's the same thing with eugenics too. Like, there's someone going to have to be running something. It's not just an idealized form out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that very much explains
just to be
my
clear,
point.
it is illegal in the United States. Skinner versus Oklahoma, the equal protection.
Legality doesn't matter.
So
it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of things that have been done unconstitutional, and guess what? They're still going on. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. The piece of paper that we worship does not matter at the end of the day, John. I'm sorry to tell you that. The Constitution is a piece of paper. I grew up in a very staunch constitutional household. I got a Constitution right here. I've got the Declaration of Independence right. No, I got the Constitution right here, Declaration of Independence over there. I grew up in that household. But guess what? The Constitution is a fucking piece of paper. I can rip it up and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Power, order, structure, that advances society. That's driven us to where we are today. And the piece of paper is not going to take us any further. It's honestly just going to limit us. What we should.
So what you're fundamentally saying is the rule of law doesn't matter, and having a framework and restrictions, that we're a country of laws and not men, that doesn't matter. I've seen where that.
I didn't say that.
Okay, that is what you said.
Say that.
And that's basically what you said. We don't need a constitution. We can ignore
That's
the rule
not what
of law,
I
and it's
said.
just anarchy, right? It's just a piece of paper. Throw it up,
John.
Tear it
That's
up.
not what I
Anarchy.
said.
Okay.
Like I said, you're talking to it right where you're not talking to an
Whoever's
anarchy.
got the most power, right?
At the end of the day, that's just nature.
Whoever has the most.
At the end of the day, that's just nature. John, from what I see, you're a veteran. I mean, you served for the Ukraine army, so that's something I really care for. But anyway, you serve, right?
Yep.
You serve. Okay. So at the end of the day, it's power, control. All right. If it's you and me, if you got to kill me to survive, you're going to do it. That's still power force. You're going to do everything in your power to take from me to make it. Yes, you are. If it comes down to you and I, let's expand this, right? Let's expand it. Yes, you are, most definitely. If it comes down to I'm hungry, you're hungry, and we're both sitting in the field, you're going to do everything in your power to either negotiate first for your life or fight for your life. You're going to choose two options, either to negotiate or fight. And in most cases, most people will fight. They're going to fight. When they know they have the power to do so, they're going to fight. And then after that, when they know they can't win, they want to negotiate.
I don't understand where you're
this
going.
And this is the basis of all reality. This is the basis of nature, how things work, and it expands to our structure as a system as well.
This is like dreamland.
I just explained it to you. This is not
dreamland.
This expands the system of power as well.
You sound like a fortune cookie, my friend.
This is reality.
No, what was the original topic?
Okay.
I forgot.
It's going over John's head because he can't grasp power and hierarchy.
I can definitely grasp it, but what does it relate to? What are you talking about? Because we live in a world where we have rule of law. Okay.
What are we talking about originally, John? What were we talking about originally?
Originally, we were talking about Joseline Hernandez.
Oh my goodness! You can't keep. Come on now. You can't keep on track of what we're talking about
in our country.
Yeah, Hey, that's your fault, man. You need to you can structure it better, baby.
And I want to get on.
I structured it very great. I stayed on point the entire time. John just can't keep up with it because he doesn't understand anything about order.
Okay, Andre.
The Nazis are going to
Okay.
come back. The Nazis are going to come back. Dude, fuck that. We need power in order.
Eugenics is how you make the world better. Okay, that's disproven by history.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. No, it's not disproven because we practice eugenics to this day. We practice eugenics to this day. There are many forms of eugenics that we practice today in American society and even across the world. Tell me how that's bad.
Eugenics has a specific definition.
Okay, define good eugenics and bad eugenics because it's a clear distinction between the two, which
eugenics,
easily can be documented.
Forced sterilization, anti-miscegenation laws, and like the stuff that you had with the Nazis and the racial hygiene stuff, like that. Okay, deciding who
What's
can have
racial hygiene,
who cannot.
I practice racial hygiene every day with my content. I'm promoting racial hygiene. I don't want niggas in my community. I want strong black people, good black image.
All right.
I think you're a white man. Which is the same thing for your own people. That's eugenics right there. That's social eugenics.
I don't know what we're even talking about now. Like, I don't know.
You can't keep up.
Okay, we're moving on. All right, Andre, we're moving on.
Thank you, John.
We're moving on.
We can't keep up with it.
I'm muting everybody. I want to move on. We gonna switch gears. I have a headache. We're gonna switch gears here. We're gonna talk about the Ukraine war. Jesus, I already know the fireworks gonna start with this. So I'd rather you guys save your energy. But side note, I would like to promote Sunday. If you're watching, somebody asked in the chat, Andre, somebody has some smoke for you in the chat. They said you ran the last debate, but we're gonna have a part 2. Andre will be debating that opinionated girl. He will be here Sunday. So come back at 8. We're gonna talk about should we continue to support Israel? He's going to say his side. She's going to say hers. And we might have a mini debate tonight, I can already tell, because John is pro continuing to support Ukraine. I already know Jeff and Andre are not. So this is going to be an interesting half of the discussion. So I would rather get to the topic we're here for tonight. I want to start by playing this little clip update of what's going on in Ukraine. And then also I'm going to put the article on the screen that you told me about, John, for the update on that. Let's watch. Here we go.
Half of Russia's top 10 oil refineries are out of action. And those 10 facilities together account for roughly 55% of Russia's entire refining capacity. 5 of them are still working normally: Omsk, Hanako, Volgograd, Perm, and the Moscow refinery. They together push out about 1.54 million barrels a day. That's good news for Moscow. The other 5 are where it gets ugly. Kirishi, Russia's third largest at 355,000 barrels a day, has been repeatedly hit by Ukrainian drones and is running damaged. Yaroslavl at 300,000 is damaged. Ryazan, which is Rosneft's largest refinery at 295,000 barrels a day, has been damaged badly enough that repairs take weeks. Stovo at 262,000 is damaged. And then Tuapse at 240,000 is also damaged. Add all of that up, and Ukraine has taken roughly 1.45 million barrels a day of Russia's refining capacity offline at just these 5 sites. And that's before you count the 21 of Russia's 38 large refineries that have been hit since January of 2025.
So before we begin, John, I would like you to give us a little background about how you came. I know you told us before, but many people are watching that it may have seen the episode. Can you tell us again about how you came to go and serve and help Ukraine? I'm sorry, John. One second. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So my past life, when I was a trial lawyer, I was doing a lot of pro bono work for people, refugees and so forth. Also journalist serving over in Ukraine. When I learned firsthand and saw what's going on over there, about the genocide that Russia is engaging in over there and the fact that they've killed nearly 10 million plus Ukrainians over time. Shit ain't funny, Andre. You think it's fucking funny? It ain't funny. I've been there. I've seen fucking dead bodies. What the fuck have you seen? You ain't seen shit. Okay. So don't fucking
John, don't get mad. I've seen dead bodies too, buddy. Man. You know, I've seen it in my own community, in my own country.
All right. You know what? I'm just going to ignore him and I'm just going to keep talking. All right. So the fact is I went over there. I served in the infantry. I saw hundreds of war crimes myself personally, blowing up children's hospitals, blowing up, school buses full of kids, bombing fire stations. I've seen everything over there exactly. And, I know some people over here that may not have seen that, but it is validated by all kinds of independent organizations. I've got a friend who's the producer of the Human Safari movie in Kyrgyzstan, where they fly drones into They fly drones into civilians every single day. So I served in the infantry over there for about a year and a half, and came back, and I still do humanitarian support for the people over there, for the children. They have an entire school system in Kharkiv, a city of over 1 million people up north. That is, in fact, where the kids go to school underground right now because of the constant bombings. So I started off over there in combat. I served over there for about, again, like I said, like about a year and a half, and I go back about every, I don't know, 120 days. So about every couple months, about 3 times a year, to support my units, to support humanitarian organizations over there.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you, John. I have a question.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to be funny. Why did you choose to go there versus taking the time to like retire and help Americans? I just want to understand like what really conflicted you to do that, because we have so many problems here in America. And I'm really saying that respectfully. I'm not trying to be funny. I want to understand what pushed you to like really take that leap to go
Well,
there.
yeah. So
versus
here's the
helping
reason.
Americans.
So in 1994, so they had the 3rd largest nuclear arsenal in the world on their territory. It was the nuclear weapons left over by Russia, right? And we promised that we would provide them security guarantees and we would help them out if, in fact, Russia ever invaded again. And it was an American obligation for that kind of a country that relied upon us and that trusted us, and for a world that if like we reneged on that promise, that means that other countries are going to now proliferate and get more nuclear weapons and make the world more unsafe. The scale of what is happening over there, you look at just Mariupol alone, where you have 40 to 50,000 civilians. I've got my friends that served over there that were prisoners of war that were trapped in Mariupol. It's the kind of barbaric thing that you're talking about over there. And I did do a lot of work over here. I did tons and tons of pro bono work for domestic violence victims, for lots of other people in unfortunate situations, socioeconomic, as depressed areas and things like that. So I would say probably 1/3 of my practice was pro bono work. But having mass murder and genocide happening right over there at that time, because in a country that relied upon us, and the historical precedent for that, like I said, 10 million people have been killed. Ukrainians have been killed by Russia in the past 100 years. That's why I did it, because of the violence that was happening, the quickness of it, and the fact that these people trusted and relied upon America. And I felt my obligation as American to help them out.
Okay, my last question, then I'm gonna play some clips and get other people in here. Do you have any personal connection to Ukraine or Russia? I'm just curious.
Other than the people I know over there, I do not have a family history or anything like that. So no like family history, no like history with the country or anything like that. He was simply trying to do the right thing, and as motivated by the violence of what Russia was doing. And listen, I will say this, like having seen what Russia did in Syria, the way they flattened Aleppo and all those other cities, and knowing lots of Syrians and knowing people in a lot of those places that have suffered, all different kinds, Muslims in Syria, Muslims in Chechnya, and things like that. It is a state that is really focusing on taking advantage of the countries around it, engaging in violence, across the planet. So that's my only connection, I guess.
Okay, so just having like empathy. But Jeff actually does have a connection there. Jeff is Ukrainian by like half. And I'm going to get Jeff in here. Jeff, should we continue to support Ukraine? Would you go and pick up arms and go fight the way John did? And what's your thoughts on all of this?
I get that all the time in TikTok. People are like, oh, you're Ukrainian and you're not fighting in the front lines over there. It's like, I wouldn't fight on the front lines here or over there. It's like, we're literally both not fighting. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. It's like they're pulling, despite like me being Ukrainian, they're pulling Ukrainian men out to serve for Israel. Okay. It's the same thing that happened to the Marine that went viral for breaking his arm. We're pulling him away to literally fight for Israel. It's like, at the end of the day, it's stupid. So, I mean, I could say more. I don't know if you wanted to watch the clip or what, but.
No, go ahead. I'm putting it on the screen so we show everybody what's going on and what it looks like over there in Ukraine. You can say more. You can say, do you support the war or us continuing to support? What's your thoughts?
No, yeah, I don't. I just never supported it. But it's like war is just so different than it used to be, right? So, like, obviously, we're both wars are supporting a certain global entity, if it wants to call itself a country with I, and it's like Yeah, it's bullshit. It's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, I really don't know what to say other than that. I of course have empathy for those who have died on both sides. Just like here, or well, here meaning America, meaning like what's actually happening in Iran and Israel. It's like I don't want anyone to die. No one wants death and war and shit like that. But it's like at the end of the day, we're both serving a different master. It's Julinsky versus Netanyahu. You know?
Okay. That's a good point to make. Like, you just think like we're just supporting one war to the next, basically. And this is what this guy had to say about what's going on. He was on Piers Morgan. Let's watch.
Your view of Putin today?
You have always got me into the hot seat because you know I speak my heart. Frankly, nothing's changed. To me, Ukraine is a tragedy pushed by the United States. We were after Russia. We've been after Russia, frankly, since 1917, 18, 19. We invaded Russia. We've done to Russia, constantly treated it like a boogeyman. Roosevelt is the only president, and Kennedy were the only two presidents that gave it the benefit of the doubt. And in time, you realize that the more you trust, the more you are trusted. Trust works between nations. We have treated them as vile outcasts. Our media has been awful. They don't re-examine their own prejudices. It's been, frankly, reading the news and following it has been very depressing. But the truth is that Ukraine is a corrupt country, and the people who are running it are really corrupt. And they don't deserve what the kind of money they were giving them. We're supporting like the Vietnam regime, we're supporting a corrupt regime. We throw money away like it's senseless.
I think just to add a couple things on the Russia war, we talked recently to some advisors to Putin, and you have to recognize that Putin is very restrained. If Russia was doing to Ukraine what Israel has done to Gaza, I think there would be a huge different shift in perspective on things, right? I mean, the truth is Israel's gotten away with destroying Gaza. Russia's not treating Kiev that way for a very important reason. Kiev is historically considered part of Russia. You understand, historically, ancestrally, they are connected. So Putin has been very restrained in all our conversations. We've understood he could have pushed. There are many people saying, advisors that are right-wing, more right-wing than him, saying that there are weapons coming from Romania and Poland, bomb the weapons depots, right? I think Putin has been very restrained in his war. And I think you compare what happened, the amount of civilians killed in Ukraine compared to Gaza, and the statistics speak for themselves.
What the West doesn't understand and never did is that Putin doesn't want Ukraine back. He wants Ukraine neutral, and he said that time and time again. Neutral. Doesn't want NATO and all its people and its right-wing factor in Ukraine. And he's defending his own country because it's like Canada to us. If the Chinese or the Russians were in Canada like we are in Ukraine, we'd be freaking out.
The Cuban Missile Crisis is a great example of what happened when the Russians tried to bring missiles 90 miles from our coast. That's what Kiev and whatnot is to Russia. So we have to look at it, as Jeffrey Sachs has pointed out, I think more eloquently than we can right now. I think a very similar perspective.
Okay, I'm going to get you back in here in a few minutes, John. Remember what all was discussed because I have some questions for you. But Andre, what's your thoughts on what you heard? Is that your reason why you don't support Ukraine and you're pro-Russia? Like, why do you have such a strong position? And I want to thank everybody on the line for their service. Gray, Andre, and John have all served in the military. So again, thank you all for your service.
Yeah, I have had the same perspective on the conflict, and no different than a lot of the other people who are, to say pro-Russia, it's more of, I'm against the establishment in the West. I'm against the institutions in the West. I'm against what they're pushing for. And whatever they're supporting, it's not in the interest of us as the people. So this push for this grand push to support Ukraine financially, politically against Russia is this old Cold War mindset that both Democrats and Republicans have been pushing. Republicans pushed it in the early 2000s. Democrats have been pushing it with the Russia shit in the 2010s. Russia is not the enemy of the United States. Putin is more of an ally and should be an ally with the United, because this is understanding the direction of the world going, that it's going. Multipolarity is a reality. This unipolar world that America is going to dominate and we're the good Samaritan. This is the weak fucking mentality. And honestly, the weak mentality of white liberals thinking that we are we have to save everyone. We have to go over and give our humanitarian aid to people who gives a fuck. I care about our people here. I've seen a lot of fucking veterans starve, especially being here in Detroit. A lot of veteran homeless encampments. I've gone to Chicago. I've gone to Gary. A lot of Black veterans I know who have suffered. One thing I love doing on the side, helping people I know are getting out. Hey, go to the VA, get your benefits, get your stuff that you deserve as a servant. That's something I do on my spare time. I help people try to get in. You want to get in the military? You want to help do something for yourself? I'm always encouraging people to do that. But one thing I will never encourage or even support is an American that has no historical connection to a country going and supporting and trying to fight and do anything for another country. I just don't have any. I find it to be goofy. We have so many problems going on here. Serve your own people. Do something for your own country. So at the end of the day, what Russia is doing in Ukraine is no different than how we felt during the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's no different than how we would feel if Mexico or Canada went to the favor of the Chinese. We would be royally pissed. In fact, we did the entire operation in Venezuela could be something, we could compare that to no different than what Russia's doing. So I think
we can agree on that for sure.
Going forward, a relationship with Russia, a superpower, by the way, a good relationship with them would be good for the world. And allowing them to take Ukraine would actually be a good start.
Oh, hold on, John. I'm going to have you respond, but I'm going to break it up a little bit. I'm going to get the girls in here. Kimberly, what's your thoughts? Are you pro helping Ukraine, or are you saying we should mind our business, or are you pro Russia?
I'm not pro. I'm not pro Russia. But so the whole thing with Ukraine is not only are they one of or notoriously known as the most corrupt country in Europe, especially with the dealings in Burisma. And I got actually banned off of Twitter after the whole laptop story came down and the whole Burisma thing. I was talking a lot of shit about Hunter Biden, but it goes back to the 90s, because in 1991, they should have disbanded NATO after the fall of the Soviet Union, but instead they expanded NATO. And the only reason why they did that is because war is profitable. I get slurred being called a pacifist every now and then, but even just like the Christian just war theory, which means no wars of aggression, I'm for that. But literally since World War II, every war that this United States has started is illegal. It's a war of aggression. So I'm not against defending yourself, but I am against wars of aggression. In the case of Ukraine, there was a coup in 2014 called the Maidan coup, and there was a leak of a phone call where through USAID and other organizations, we poured millions of dollars into that coup because the leader was more pro-Russia and having normalization with Russia, which is good. So we couped that leader, and then we put in the one we wanted, which was more US friendly, because of course we want to control resources, and then also war is profitable. If you listen to just the words that Vladimir Putin says, he speaks very clearly, and he said that he didn't want the expansion of NATO to continue, and it's gotten worse. And every year they expand. Every time they expand NATO, he speaks out against it. He speaks out against, which is basically the United States expansion of NATO, and that's why he made the decision to invade Ukraine. And to this day, whenever they have talks, the United States is the one that, even at the very beginning, the UK also went, and Boris Johnson, and they didn't want them to settle right away because they want to keep profiting off of war, which is what NATO does. NATO funnels weapons. Weapons manufacturers in the United States make a lot of money off of that. They got to keep the stock profiles up, and that's why it's continued to this day. It could have ended a long time ago, but the United States and the West won't allow that. So I'm against just war in general, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm sympathetic to Vladimir Putin. I don't think that he's necessarily a good guy, but Andre's right. We are looking at a multipolar world, and in order for U.S. hegemony to thrive, I mean, it's not going to. There's a big AI bubble, but the cost of the U.S. hegemony is, like I say all the time, is murder and war, and unfortunately, it's profitable.
All right, John. So I'm gonna get you in here. So I think back to that clip, and he brings up a good point. You know, like basically, Russia was working with Cuba at the time during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Is that why you're supporting Ukraine? Because you want to keep like Russia aggression at bay to prevent them from cozying up to like places like Cuba and Venezuela, if we can weaken them? Like, I want to get your opinion on that.
So, okay, I think the first thing I should say is I want to try to just bring it back to, there are things that I've heard that I actually agree with. I do think that what we did in Venezuela, it is massively illegal. It is totally wrong. It is the war crime of pillage and stealing their oil. It is overriding the popular will of 27 million people. So what Trump did there is horrible and disgusting. And I just, because I, think Ukraine should have the right to self-defense, and that we should honor the obligations we made to them when they gave up their third largest nuclear arsenal in exchange for guarantees that we would protect them. And Russia also signed a document, the Budapest Memorandum, saying they would not invade Ukraine. They broke their own deal when they did that. That does not mean I agree with all of foreign policy. And I bet there's all kinds of stuff that we could agree on American foreign policy that I'm against. Okay. So I just like, in the discrete issue of where the United States promises to protect someone if they take a certain action, which helps reduce the amount of nuclear weapons in the world, we should just honor those agreements. And that's really where I come back on it. With respect to, so why I did that is, why I went over there is because they relied upon us and we had an obligation to protect them. It was specific to that. So like, just because I think Ukrainians should not have to have missiles go into hospitals filled with children. I've seen a children's cancer hospital, okay, blown up, and I can prove this by, beyond a reasonable doubt whatsoever. I've got the videos and stuff. I mean, I can show you war crimes as they happen. I can show you explosions I was in Kherson when they blew up a dam. And then, I've seen firefighters and first responders killed right in front of me. So like, people can shake their head, but that's what I've seen. All right. And that's wrong. And it shouldn't happen. As far as like NATO expansion, that's a Russian propaganda myth. I can show you video of Mikhail Gorbachev himself on tape saying, they never promised me that. They never promised me that. Show me evidence where that's happened. I have a videotape of Gorbachev saying that's not what happened. So if you guys have something different, I'd love to see it. The myth of a coup, it was not a coup. Okay. And even if it were, Zelensky was elected with 71% of the vote. And that was an internationally recognized, and it was overseen, an election overseen by international observers. So, these are facts. This is reality. And the fact of the matter is, as far as corruption in America now, we are not really in a place, I think, to be talking about people's corruption. I can speak on what I saw. And I dealt with a lot of situations where, like, how we were handling American weapons that were given to us and how we had to account for them. The Ukrainians have made a lot of strides. Yes, there was corruption in the past, but you know what that corruption is? That is a legacy of Soviet domination and control, Russian domination and control. And if you look at a lot of these former states that were under Russian control involuntarily, whether it's Poland, whether it's Kazakhstan, whether it's Ukraine, wherever it may be, they have issues with corruption because that's a legacy of what happened in the Soviet Union. So, that's my general thoughts and everything. I can't really address everything that was said. I will say this though, one more thing. The fact that the statement that Russia isn't our enemy, I know people who have worked for our government who were subjected to Havana syndrome, who are crippled for life. And there's hundreds of people like that. And that is a Russian operation that was, worked against our intelligence agents, where they used actual sonic weapons to disable people before they invaded Ukraine. They've been caught in plots to blow up airliners coming to the United States. There's a court case going on. There's multiple court cases going on like that right now in Europe. They have engaged in all kinds of arson and dozens and dozens and dozens of kinetic violent attacks all across Europe. So they are attacking us, and so I don't think it's accurate. The Colonial Pipeline hack, for example, the entire Eastern Seaboard's gas system was shut down because they engaged in hacks and ransomware. I mean, these are all things that are well known, well established with a lot of evidence. So I that's sort of my statement on everything. That's why I went over there. There are a lot of things we could agree on.
I'm going to let the last two people in here. Gray, I'm going to get you in here. Is Russia our friend, our enemy? Do you support us continuing to support Ukraine?
I think that's a loaded question. I think the real question is, what's America's interest? And I remember when Trump was getting elected, a lot of people were saying, oh, I trust Trump more because Trump is basically friends with Vladimir Putin, right? So they felt like he was going to be able to negotiate better and that he was going to have more leverage. So are they our friend or not? Is really what we need to learn is what's going on back doors, what's going on backstage. I don't know if they are. That's a question for Trump. That's a question for the Trump administration.
Okay, Mia, friend, enemy, what you think about Russia? Should we continue to give our money to Ukraine?
So hold on real quick, just to be clear, hold on real quick. I don't want to interrupt. We are giving zero money to Ukraine right now, just to be 100% clear. And it's been that way for a while. So just
really?
Good. Yeah, we're not giving money to them.
Yeah,
we're giving
fantastic.
Zero support to them right now.
So what cut it off? Do you think it was Trump being elected, or do you think this was the plan all along? I just want to ask you that.
No, so because the legislation, there was that money that was allocated was already spent, and that wasn't really it was like 80% of it was old equipment. It wasn't actually cash, so that got spent, and there's zero money being spent right now.
Okay,
John, how do you feel about Israel?
Oh my God, Andre, can I answer? I'm going
My
last.
bad, Mia. I'm so sorry, Mia. My bad. I'm sorry.
I already know the answer for John, but John, we'll let John go next. John has nice feelings about that. Go ahead, Mia.
All right, so peace never profits, so we'll never see peace anywhere. There is literally no profit when it comes to peace. The only thing that profits is war. And to be honest, I mean, it would be in our best interest to have a more favorable working relationship with Russia and with China, right? There's a tripolarization there. We are the three superpowers that control the majority of the chess pieces, whether it's resources, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's money, whether it's controlling debt. I don't know why we're so worried about Ukraine. Ukraine is a European problem. And I'm going to be honest, if the Russians were to launch a nuclear attack, they aren't going to aim it at us, baby. They're aiming it at Europe. Russians hate Europe the most. If you have listened to Putin and the way he speaks about Europeans, he thinks they are disgusting, vile people. He will send a nuclear weapon and an ICBM to them before he'll ever send it to us. Hands down, period. I think the Europeans need to step up, tax their people more, and take care of Ukraine more than us. I don't think we should send $1. I don't think we should send anything there. It's not our monkeys, not our circus. I am more for pulling everything back and coming back to the United States because we have people starving here. We have 14 million kids that don't know where their next meal is. We have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of families now that have no place to live. We have problems here. I'm sorry for the Ukrainians. That's no good, but that's Europeans' problem. They need to work that amongst themselves and figure their shit out. They already pay a lot of taxes. I'm sure 5% more off the top isn't going to be a big deal to them. They'll be fine.
So I have the numbers real quick. Europe has paid, they're covering Ukraine 100%. We're giving $0 and they've given $70 billion more than the United States has. But the U.S. hasn't been paying for a minute.
But what is this? It says we signed something.
What's that?
It says we're giving them money. We're giving them assistance still.
Oy vey.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I don't know what you're looking at, but that's not what I'm, they cut off the aid right now and pretty much. And in fact, what's happening is that Europe is buying weapons from U.S. contractors to give to Ukraine. So that's the only aid only aid that's going is actually stuff we sold them.
We shouldn't be allowing that either.
All right, I'll let you answer the question now, John. What do you think about Israel? He asked you.
Oh, I think Israel. I'm glad you said that. I think Israel, is more of an enemy to the United States than almost any other country in the world right now. They drag us into stupid wars. I think what they did in Gaza was a genocide and a fucking war crime. I think right now they are making deals with Russia. Let me tell you something about what happened recently. They were buying grain that Russia stole from Ukrainian lands that they occupy illegally. And then they were buying that. And understand, like, Russia does a lot of anti-Semitic propaganda. Now, what does that say about Israel? Every time Israel gets attacked, what do they say? Let me finish. They say, oh, it's anti-Semitism. It's anti-Semitism, right? When the bullshit, because you're working with someone who does anti-Semitism. So that's all fake. So, like, I think Israel is fucking out of control. I think they're doing shit in the media, hitting a Christ statue in the face, fucking stealing people's homes in Lebanon. I think they're a rogue state. I think if you want to talk about who's a greater nuclear terrorism threat to the United States, I think it's Israel. They're fucking bombing reactors in fucking Iran. Okay. They're engaging in war crimes in Iran. I think that they bombed that city in Tehran, like
John,
caught on fire.
Are you gonna go serve for Hamas or from Hezbollah then? Because more children have been unalived in Gaza than in Ukraine. No offense, I'm just saying, because you said you had a heart for the children. They're hitting the hospitals. They're double tapping hospitals. They're double tapping. When the aid is there. So, like, are you gonna go serve there too? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious because
that's the question I was gonna ask too.
I would be open to serving anywhere that innocent people are getting hurt. So yes, if it came down to it, would I serve for it? Am I going to sit on here and say in public I'm going to serve like someone's a designated terrorist organization? I'd have to analyze every single situation. But if we invaded Canada, would I go serve for Canada? Fuck yeah, I probably would. If we go into another country, would I go help people?
Because poutine's kind of good. Okay, I've had poutine a couple times and it's kind of good. All right, we got to save the poutine. We got to help out the Canadian.
Okay. Why would you go? I don't get that logic. If we invaded Canada, which I think would be a good thing, why would you go serve and fight for the Canadians?
Why would it be good?
Yeah, because it'd be an illegal war of aggression, and we need to get our ass kicked.
Why this illegal war? Shit
Hold on, before we venture too much down there, I think another really suspicious thing when it comes to Ukraine and just in general is the fact that Zelensky's a Jew and they make up 0.2% of the entire population. So how the fuck did the one Jewish dude and like the entire country get elected? I don't get it. Like 80% of them are Orthodox Christians of some variety. So how did the one Jewish man, actor, individual get fucking elected out of a sea of Christians? They found like the one Jew. I want to know that.
There's a lot of Muslims too. There's a lot of different. I mean, it's a very diverse area. But I will say this: fucking Zelensky does not like Israel. He's trying to sanction them in front of the fucking European Union right now as we speak. So I mean, just keep that in mind. They're against Israel right now.
He's probably
he's still a part of the Jews. I mean, regardless if he's doing whatever for Israel or against Israel, he's still a pawn of the Jewish establishment and organized Jewry worldwide. Worldwide. I mean, we're looking at what the push is right now when it comes to the State Department, when it comes to business, media. Go look at the last few years with the entire war for the last 10 years. They've been pushing Ukraine as the last bastion of freedom against Russian aggression. Why?
So what does that have to do with him being a Jew? What does that have to do with him being a Jew, though?
Well, it has everything to do with being a Jew.
What? Tell me.
Jews happen to, we look at this historically, have always been in positions of power, always been pawns, pushing for certain, especially these Jews who can blend in very easily, have always been pushing these things and policies. Oh, the civil rights movement is a big example of Jews pushing shit.
Zelensky a Jewish figurehead, as you're saying, or however you're trying to describe it.
Well, his little nose and his little accent, I can tell he's Jewish from the way he talks. He sounds like either a Russian or a
That's not a
Jew.
Fucking argument.
It's not anti-Semitic. It's a joke.
Because of the way his fucking nose looks. Are you insane, dude?
His little nose.
It's the same racist shit that people say against Jesus fucking Christ,
he looks very Jewish.
Oh my
God. Why are you jumping out? Because I don't like Ukraine. I don't like Ukraine.
You have your evidence is his nose.
You're acting like a black woman right now.
I get it.
It's Jewish behavior. It's Jewish behavior. It's very Jewish.
You have no evidence. That's your argument. It's very intellectual. I'm impressed. I
have no evidence of what? That he's a Jew? I think it was very evident that he's a Jew. He has a Jewish ancestry. Jews have always been put in power throughout Soviet history, throughout Eastern European history. I mean, that's not very uncommon. Even though much of Eastern Europe has always been Christian, it seems that Jews have always been organized and in position of power, especially throughout the Soviet area.
Okay.
And even now, we see even more today.
For the original question about why
I answered your question.
Why is he a Jewish pawn of the West, as you said? And your answer is no.
One, we're saying I could say this, and the amount of business, military, all the entire military industrial complex funding Ukraine and trying to support Ukraine against Russia, which is a predominantly Christian country, which is a very powerful country, which should be our ally.
Powerful
that goes
country.
Against the interest of the Jewish establishment.
20% of the people don't even have toilets. They got
are you going to make the argument?
About?
I know he's going to say this.
Powerful
he's going to make the John McCain argument.
Powerful
Russia's
my ass. They got a tiny ass economy.
Are you going to say
they
that?
Got a tiny economy.
Are you going to say that?
California.
Yeah,
they got no power.
Yeah, Russia's still a world power. Is Russia not a world power?
They got to get help from North Korea and all these China and all this other help.
Very good in Ukraine.
Ukraine.
They're doing very good in Ukraine.
35,000
They're doing very good in Ukraine. They don't have to push as much because this is a war with Russia. I think you would know that.
4 years
there, right?
Ukraine. That's weak. That ain't power.
They're beating Ukraine. John, they're
able
to take on the West in Ukraine.
They have less territory now than in 2023. They're going backwards.
No, they don't. They've been taking even more territory. That's why.
You can make stuff up.
I mean, how many Ukrainians got killed? How many Ukrainians got killed in the circle last year?
All right,
how many Ukrainians got killed in the circle last year?
Yeah.
You guys can set up a debate.
He's shipping out.
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be great. We can debate Ukraine. Yeah.
We'll talk.
I'll be the moderator.
John might not want to come back. John's like,
I'll come back. I love you guys. It's all good.
But okay,
John should
guys.
definitely come back and tell us how Ukraine is.
Side note, thank you, John, for coming and sharing. I gotta do a shameless plug while the views are high. We do have a debate coming Sunday, guys. Andre and Opinionated Girl. I don't know if she's gonna really show up. She probably might see the stream, honey, and be like, I don't want to deal with him. But if she shows up, it will be Sunday at 8. I'm just kidding. She's gonna show up Sunday at 8. We're so looking forward to it. John, thank you for coming. We do have to set up a debate. We
Andre,
are gonna
have a great day.
Yeah, we are going to have a debate. John, what's your closing thoughts?
You know what? It's just my closing thoughts is, I think there's a lot of things we can agree on, and I want to focus on things we can agree on and learn more from each other. And I appreciate the time, and I appreciate Andre. I appreciate everybody. Even though it may got a little heated here and there, I love you all, and I just want to make sure that I give out, love and virtual hugs for everybody and unity, and we all hope for a better world. So let's work on that.
Agree, John. Thank you so much for coming. I greatly appreciate you. Mia, what's your closing thoughts there?
This has been a very fun episode. We have talked about a wide variety of topics, a very wide variety of topics. And I know there's a lot of uncertainty happening in this country. I know things are it's just crazy. And I understand a lot of Americans are struggling, myself included, when it comes to all these things. So I am on Quiver Quantitative, and I'm going to tell you the top 3 shares that Nancy Pelosi has bought that all of you should buy as well. So it looks like she bought a bunch of Amazon, a bunch of Google, and a bunch of NVIDIA, and Tempest AI Incorporated. Take that with your will. Go buy you some shares because Nancy's doing it, and she's up 855% compared to everybody else. So do with that information what you will. Go get your bag.
She giving out stock advice over here. Kimberly, what's your closing thoughts? She trying to get you rich.
I love that. I'm here for it. My closing thoughts. There were a lot of different topics today, but I just want to end with, we should have disbanded NATO a long time ago, and we should stop funding Israel. I think that, especially because I'm also Mexican, and when you look at the United States from other countries they don't look at us with googly eyes. They don't look at us through rose-colored glasses. They know that we're the big bad bully all over the world. That isn't going to last with the big AI bubble. There is multipolarity. There's BRICS. There's the fall of the petrodollar with the Iran war right now. There's a lot of things that are really starting to hurt the United States. It's not that I don't want the United States to be number one. I love this country. I think we are the greatest country on the face of this earth. I live here, not in Mexico, even though I'm Mexican. But we really need to just kind of step back and observe the United States from the point of view of the world. We're not the good guys here. We, whenever there's a war in the world, the United States, you can assume it's a war of aggression, and it's a war for profit and murder. And we should all be against that as Americans. Dissent is the highest form of patriotism. And it was a fun night with listening to all of you guys. It was really great.
Thank you. Jeff, welcome back. What's your closing thoughts?
Honestly, I probably got to get better at closing thoughts. I really don't have much to say aside from I don't see how the answers for things are just obvious. Like certain things that should be happening in the world versus shouldn't. So that being said, we definitely shouldn't be in any of these wars. None of these wars should be happening. And I'll work on delivering some closing thoughts. I'm kind of just like one of those dudes who just Irish exits everywhere, you know?
Makes sense.
All
I
good,
got you. Andre, what's your closing thoughts?
Love John. John's nice, but not a big supporter of Ukraine. It's a waste of our time. Not our problem. We got way greater issues going on here in the United States. I'd rather this administration start focusing on how to better the quality of life of Americans here than to be fighting Jewish wars and trying to end wars in Europe when the Europeans can do that. They've been doing that for a very long time. It's up to them to figure it out. I don't really give a fuck about what Euros are doing anymore. I really can care less. Listen, if Russia wants to turn all of Eastern Europe and Western Europe into a parking lot, we'll go and high five each other and go into space. I very much prefer that. I really don't care about what's going on over there, especially with Ukraine. I think the war is going to play out in Russia's favor at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, it hurts the American establishment, the State Department, the CIA, all the status quo. That really shows you that America is in decline, unfortunately. Kim's right. There's an AI bubble coming. China will surpass us economically. We will fall into probably another Great Depression in maybe the next few years. It's going to be very depressing here in this country. But with that, as things get worse, things will get better in return. And that's what I'm looking at. It's good that things are getting worse in this country. It's good that we're going through these hard times because as Americans, we always come out very strong on the other end. And that's where I'm very optimistic on. I don't think it will be the end of days for America, but it will be a new era for us as a people. So that's how I'm viewing it. The Zeus Network shit ran by Jews, a black that his father has ties with Jews. It's so typical to see this hidden Hebrewy. As I always say, these hidden Hebes always show themselves. And with Melania Trump, I really don't give a fuck about Melania Trump or Jimmy Kimmel. They both suck. This entire administration has been a big failure. I'm very disappointed. That's all I've got to say. I'm also banned on YouTube at the moment, so unfortunate. And also, Patreon is going to take down. I'm probably going to lose my Patreon. I'm probably about to lose this Instagram. We had 5 videos taken down in 2 days. Crazy shit. So they're hitting us hard. But we keep coming back out of the way. I don't give a fuck.
Damn. Where can they find you now, Andre?
Find me on X. That's where I'm at. X at Andre Williams USA. You can still find me on any platform. I don't even think TikTok has completely kicked me off. You can't even search me up on there, I don't think so. On Facebook as well, but just search me up on any platform. You'll be able to find me.
Okay, thank you. Great. Last but not least, what's your closing thoughts?
This was an interesting show. As far as Jimmy Kimmel and Melania Trump, I think it's strange, but I think the big thing is that communication. People have to learn to talk, listen, and actually listen to comprehend and not listen to respond. So if we can get to that point as a society, we'll grow overall. We do this every Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Like we always say on New Party, always vote.
Yeah, I agree with Gray. We need to be listening to learn, listening to grow, not quick to respond. And that's one thing I love about the New Party. We all have different viewpoints, all have different experiences, and we come together and we discuss these topics. Somebody said you're going to report the channel. Well, go ahead, boo-boo, because we had all viewpoints tonight. You may not have liked Andre's take. You may not have liked that we had someone here that supported Ukraine, or you may like that he supported Ukraine and you don't like Russia. But that's what this is about. So shout out to our team. God bless. Good night. And you guys stay safe. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Come back Sunday, 8 p.m. Andre, Opinionated Girl. Oof, it's going to be interesting. God bless everyone. Stay safe.
Hello, history buffs. Ready for a journey back? Look at this encampment. The spirit of 76 is alive.
Freedom of our future. A true patriot savors these moments, but the fight for liberty calls. To the encampment for freedom of our future.
for liberty. This is what American patriotism is all about. Look at these flags. They represent our fight for liberty.
The hour our liberty is at hand. For freedom is proper. Secure our liberty. My fellow patriots, the hour of decision is upon us. Let us march forth with courage to secure our liberty.
Welcome to my colonial home. Today, Del Payne's work captures the spirit of we fight for independence. And our freedom. Greetings from the encampment. The spirit of liberty is strong. We will fight for our rights and our freedom.
Hour is late. We must enact. To the encampment for liberty. Through every change and challenge. We stand at the dawn of liberty, unshaken by the trials ahead. Soldiers, the enemy is near. Front line, front me!